Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live coverage of Starlink 15-1 mission launch from West Coast, that is from Pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Dipta Maitra, performing the commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
We hope you all are doing fine and excited about the upcoming SpaceX Starlink launch. We are super excited bringing you the coverage of SpaceX's 24th overall launch and the 23rd Falcon 9 launch of this year. Today's launch marks the 7th one from Vandenberg for SpaceX as they are on their way building their incredible launch cadence for this year. So far, we have seen one launch for Starlink Group 13, and now we are skipping ahead to Group 15 today with no Starlink Group 14 launch in between. We are waiting for a Falcon 9 liftoff at 5:38 p.m. Pacific Time, 8:38 p.m. Eastern Time from California for a southeasterly launch for SpaceX Starlink mission. The Starlink mission 15-1 will launch a batch of 22 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit. Today's Starlink mission marks SpaceX's amazing 451st overall launch, which also suggests that SpaceX is going to have its 500th mission launch this year, with 49 more launches to go. Now let us know your predictions for the month when SpaceX will reach its 500th mission launch. We would love to know from you. Now moving on behalf of AstroYonder team and our awesome moderators, thank you all for joining us for today's launch. We are super grateful to have you as part of the stream. A huge shout out to our amazing YouTube community for the support as we bring the detailed coverage of space launches with all the stats and in-depth insights. We really appreciate you all being here and grateful for that. We would really appreciate it if you guys could join the chat and let us know where you are joining from. Additionally, feel free to share any questions, suggestions, or your opinions with us. We would love to hear from you guys. Today's launch will be the 17th dedicated Starlink mission of the year for SpaceX. Prior to today's launch, overall 7,996 Starlink satellites have been launched to date, including 505 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites. Now, just a note, it's me only managing the launch coverages on my own. So if we face any technical issues, please bear with me and be tuned in. I will do my best to guide you through the Falcon 9 rocket launch happening in approximately 40 minutes from now. SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 5:38 p.m. Pacific Time, 8:38 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, February 22nd, that is today. And as of now, SpaceX adjusted the liftoff time for today's launch from 3:43 p.m. Pacific Time to 5:38 p.m. Pacific Time, which is the new time which we are now targeting, extending beyond the previous mentioned launch window end time of 5:10 p.m. Pacific Time. But anyways, we hope that they are able to launch on time now and not have to push off too far. But if for some reason launch does not happen today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow, that is Sunday, February 23rd, with launch window opening at 2:10 p.m. Pacific time, 5:10 p.m. Eastern time. Now, before getting into the mission details, firstly, I would like to welcome our team of moderators all joining us today. Firstly, I would like to welcome Potripika, who was well before the with us even the stream got started. So welcome Potripika, thanks for tuning in. And yes, as you highlighted, SpaceX did skipped to the Group 15 launch directly instead of having any Group 14 launch. But maybe it's because of their strategy for the constellation. Hopefully, they will be having the Group 14 launch as well in coming days. And I hope, Tripika, you are doing well and hope you will be enjoying the stream as well. Would like to welcome an Angry Bird, one of our moderator, and you can say an AI artist, an emerging AI artist nowadays. Thanks for tuning in, Angry Bird. It's late at your place, but glad that you could join us. And well, thanks DT for subscribing us. I hope you will be enjoying the stream, DT, and hopefully we will be able to meet your expectations from the stream. Now sit back and enjoy the stream as we move ahead. Would like to welcome one of our another moderator here, Fairmaid. Thanks for tuning in, Fairmaid. I know it's maybe reaching towards the noon at your place, but it's early 6:30 over here. And I hope you are doing well. Yes, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, Fairmaid. And yes, it's already Sunday for me as well. But anyways, no holidays for me. Now, let's get into the mission details. We'll join you guys in between as we describe the mission details. Let's take a look at today's payload details for Starlink Group 15-1 mission. This launch marks the 17th dedicated Starlink launch for this year. Built in Redmond, Washington, today's payload consists of 22 Starlink version 2 mini satellites. Just any another typical Starlink payload for today. Each satellite is equipped with 5 advanced Ku band phased array antennas, 3 dual band parabolic antennas utilizing Ka and E band, and a 52.5 square meter dual solar array with a wingspan of 100 feet. These two solar arrays are also aeroneutral, which enable faster on-orbit maneuvers. And each satellite is equipped with a high-capacity battery to provide power to the payloads. Each Starlink satellite features 3 space laser transponders, that is optical inter-satellite links, also known as ISLS, for intercommunications operating at up to 200 Gbps. They make use of argon-fueled Hall effect thrusters for in-orbit maneuvering. Today's payload will be deployed in an orbit with an altitude of approximately 269 to 282 kilometers with an inclination of 70 degrees. Now here, please note that the orbital details are not fully clear yet. As of this, as this is the first launch of Starlink Group 15. However, we have done our best to find the most accurate and relevant information for you. These details will be more refined after today's launch and will be reflected in our future streams. And for that, we appreciate your patience. We just don't want to misguide you with any wrong details. So we did our research and found this set of orbital details for the payload to be the most accurate. Now the each version Mini 2 satellite weighs approximately 1763 pounds, which is equivalent to 800 kilograms. Starlink satellites use custom-built star tracker to find their position, altitude, and orientation for optimal broadband throughput. Each one has 4 reaction wheels for precise attitude control. By attitude control, I mean the orientation control, plus a hot spare setup for reliability. Their aluminum flywheel is designed to safely burn up at the end of their useful life. Additionally, these Starlink satellites have an onboard autonomous collision avoidance system that uses Department of Defense debris tracking database for avoiding collisions with space junks and other spacecrafts autonomously. As I'm mentioning in most of our streams, once again, just to make you guys understand the importance of autonomous collision avoidance system, a quick context. According to a SpaceX report published last year, Starlink satellite performs 275 collision avoidance maneuvers each day, and in that course of the past 6 months, that is during that report got published, Starlink satellite performed nearly 50,000 collision avoidance maneuvers. So I hope you can understand the significance of this autonomous collision avoidance system. Now let's move on and take a look at the flight record for the booster supporting today's 15-1 mission. The booster with tail number 1082 supporting today's mission, a teenage booster you can say, with 10 previous flights in its record. The mission supported by this booster previously includes 2 non-Starlink missions, OneWeb 4 and USSF 62. And additionally, this booster supported 8 Starlink missions, now awaiting its 11th flight just 31 minutes away from now. The last mission supported by today's booster was Starlink 11-8 on January 21st of this year. The booster's turnaround time as of today is 32 days. Now, interestingly, today's mission will be the 11th consecutive launch of this booster from pad Slick 4E at Vandenberg, with previous 8 landings on, of course, I Still Love You and 2 on landing zone 4. So all the launches are from Vandenberg itself for this booster. Now let's have a look at the bar graph showing number of Falcon 9 launches each year. Before this upcoming launch, SpaceX completed its 22nd Falcon 9 launch for this year with the Starlink Group 12-14 mission launch from Cape Canaveral on February 21st, leaving behind a number of launches made up to 2018. With today's launch of Starlink 15-1 mission, the bar graph shows 23 Falcon 9 launches for 2025, nearing to the 26 number of launches made in 2020, now being 3 less number of launches from that. Previously, SpaceX completed 132 launches of Falcon 9 last year, marking a year with the highest annual launches to date for SpaceX, that is 134 launches in total. A previous tweet from Elon suggests that we might see around 180 Falcon 9 launches this year, which signals SpaceX is again aiming for another record-breaking year, surpassing last year's highest annual launches. As we discuss mission details prior to the liftoff, if this stream fuels your love for space, give us a like. It's like fine-tuning the trajectory of this video to reach out more space enthusiasts like you. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so that you won't miss a single launch update. Now, before moving on, let me have a look at the chat. Alfred, I'm from future as well, like you. And I'm really happy that to see you making jokes and to being coming in a normal life. Really, I'm feeling glad for that, Fairmid. And Pop Replica, upon saying I saw that ad that was shown on the Super Bowl, you said no. So I saw that ad and really it was impressive. And the T-Mobile's advertisement, which you are mentioning, I think I saw it as well. And yes, fingers crossed, you will be getting the chance, don't worry. Here we are struggling to have that Gork AI app. It's saying today I was just testing that whether to have that app. It's saying that to have a pre-registration, like not registration, like it will be in your wish list and it will be automatically getting installed upon availability. We are still not having yet on the Android phones. Now, please allow us a couple of seconds to check whether the launch is on time or not. And to stay updated, be tuned in. I'm here with you guys while it's on time. No issues. So let's quickly move on to the what is left. Well, I'm not discussing the pre-launch timeline. It's a typical Falcon 9 pre-launch timeline, but just for a quick knowledge, you might be knowing that the strong back reclining process at Vandenberg differs from that at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center. Here at Vandenberg, we recline the strong back 13 degrees away, whereas at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center, we recline the strong back about 1.5 degrees away from the Falcon 9. Let me just show you this slide. The strong back positioned alongside the vehicle, also referred as a transporter erector or the TE, fulfills multiple functions. It supplies propellants, provide air conditioning, pressurization gases, and electrical power. Additionally, it transports the Falcon 9 to the Launchpad and positions it for the launch. On your screen is an image showing how a strong back or the transporter erector transports The Falcon 9, well, excuse me, it's Falcon Heavy, all, but the process is same for the Falcon 9. There are no more deviation in the pre-launch timeline. Let's go ahead and briefly step through the trajectory for today's Starlink mission. Falcon 9 leaving the pad from Space Launch Complex 4 east from Vandenberg Space Force Base with the spacecraft on board the batch of 22 Starlink satellites for a southeast trajectory along the coast of Southern California, heading into a low Earth orbit, that is to the 15th shell of second generation Starlink mega constellation, indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line you see indicates where the Falcon 9 first stage will land after stage separation, just a little later leaving California's coast. Today here at the west coast, of course, I Still Love You Droneship will be supporting the mission, which means that the first stage booster with tail number 1082 flying for 11th time will be returning heading out to the Droneship for its landing. This will be the 121st landing on, of course, I Still Love You Droneship to date, if successful. Now the planned estimated booster recovery is approximately 594 kilometers, with estimated fairing recovery approximately 664 kilometers downrange, and the stage 2 debris re-entry will be in the South Pacific. Now some of the stats for the Droneship on your screen. Currently there are 3 in SpaceX's Droneship fleet, as we know. We do anticipate the addition of a 4th Droneship possibly this year, which was earlier promised that will be happening early this year. As of now, no updates regarding that. Out of this, just read the instructions, and a shortfall of gravitas are based in Florida, and another one, of course, I Still Love You, is based here at California, supporting today's mission. Well, yes, Pop Paprika, Falcon Heavy launches are a bit rare, but they are thrilling. I hope soon we will be having a launch for the Falcon 9. Now, I hope you guys are done having a glimpse of the Droneship stats. Now, let's quickly move on to the fairing recovery. Oops, I made a wrong slide to play. The 2 halves of the payload fairing will be recovered slightly farther, approximately 70 kilometers downrange from where the first stage lands on the Droneship, after they will smoothly splash down with the guidance of parachutes. SpaceX will utilize a recovery vessel to retrieve both the fairing halves from the Pacific waters. You can see on a screen how a fairing recovery looks like. Although the recovery vessel on your screen is dark, performing the recovery operations, but today's supporting recovery vessel is Go Beyond here at Pacific. Other recovery vessels, Bob, is on its way for the upcoming Starlink mission. Doug reaching back to the Canaveral port after supporting yesterday's Starlink 12-14 mission, and Go Cosmos is moored as of now, awaiting for next assignment. Now we will be reaching out for the final section of our discussion, that is the stats, and we are right now 10 minutes away from the webcast to begin. If you feel we are adding value to your viewing experience, please consider giving this video a like. It's like fuel for YouTube's algorithm to bring in more space lovers and helping rocket fans discover this stream and join our amazing YouTube community with amazing space enthusiasts like you. Also consider about smashing the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. We are burning the midnight propellant to bring you detailed streams packed with stats and insights. Your support would totally send us over the moon, figuratively, of course. As of now, we are waiting for the Blue Ghost Firefly's Blue Ghost to land on moon, not the AstroYonder. So let's now move to the stats for today's mission launch. Today's launch marks 451st SpaceX's overall launch and the 17th dedicated Starlink launch of this year. At the beginning of the stream, I asked you guys that what is your view that on which month SpaceX will be reaching its 500th overall launch. Please let us know on the chat section. We would like to hear from you that what is your prediction about that. This is going to be the 438th Falcon 9 launch to date, 11th flight for this particular Falcon 9 booster supporting today's mission, with tail number 1082 being in action after 32 days. Today's mission marks 23rd Falcon 9 launch and SpaceX's 24th overall launch of 2025. Why there is a difference of one is because of one Starship launch, and also there is a difference between the number of launches made by Falcon 9 and the landing made by Falcon 9 by one, as because we did had one expendable booster launch. This will be the 383rd Falcon booster reflight to date, meaning the launch of a booster that has flown at least once before. Today's launch marks 113th orbital launch for SpaceX, launching from Space Launch Complex 4 East, and the 180th overall orbital launch from this pad. With the success of this mission, SpaceX will have a staggering 8,018 Starlink satellites, including 505 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites launched to date. Just a quick reminder, today's payload does not contain any direct-to-cell satellites for the Starlink to be launched. Well, Pop Tripica, indeed it's midnight propellant. The whole night I stayed awake for this. So it's a midnight propellant. It's a nice way to say that I'm providing some effort. Hopefully you guys love this effort. If you guys love it, my work is justified. Just that I want. Now moving on to some reusability statistics. This launch marks 367th Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. This will be the 122nd landing on, of course, I Still Love You Droneship. 11th landing of the first stage booster with tail number 1082. And with this mission's first stage landing, SpaceX will be having their 330th overall Droneship landing, marking 393rd Falcon 9 landing to date and 412th SpaceX's overall landing. Speaking of landing, some of the stats prior to today's launch for the number of landings made on Droneship on your screen right now. The last mission supported by today's Droneship, of course, I Still Love You, was the Starlink 11-10 mission, and I guess it's more than 10 days. And today we are here again, having, of course, I Still Love You being in action. Again, please note that these Droneship landing stats, which is right now on your screen, are excluding today's mission. These are prior to today's launch, so please don't get confused. Now let's have a look into some key stats for SpaceX launches this year, including today's mission. Right now we are just 5 minutes away from the webcast to begin, so let's quickly wrap up with the stats for today's launch. With today's mission, SpaceX will achieve its 24th launch of this year, and among these 17 are Starlink missions, including today's one, and 6 were non-Starlink missions for commercial and government organizations. As of now, I guess there is no government organization launches being made by SpaceX, but yes, upcoming IM2 and SpaceX will be for NASA. So those two are for government organization and non-Starlink missions as well. "23 of all these 24 missions used reused boosters, including today's one. Now, if we look into the geographical distribution, we get SpaceX is having 16 launches from East Coast, with 5 from Launch Complex 39A, that is Kennedy Space Center, and 11 from Space Launch Complex 40, that is from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. On the West Coast, they will be having 7 launches with today's mission, that is from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base. So as you can see, as of now, the highest number of launches made from a pad is the Slick 40 from Cape Canaveral. And again, only one launch from Gulf Coast at Starbase in Texas, with Starship's 7th test flight and 1 super booster catch for that flight only. As per an FAA advisory, SpaceX is targeting no earlier than next week for Starship Flight 8, with the primary launch date on February 26th as of now. The backup dates range between February 27th to March 6th, with the daily launch window between 5:30 p.m. to 7:09 Central Standard Time. Again, just an update. FCC document notes that Starship Flight 9 has the option of ship returning to the launch site for a catch, that is an return to launch site operation, also known as RTLS. Although it's now unconfirmed by SpaceX end, but Flight 9 has the potential of reflying booster 14 with Starship 35 and both returning to the launch site, with booster returning to pad A and the Starship ship 35 to pad B. So this indicates Starship Flight 9 will be the first orbital launch attempt for the Starship. That will be quite exciting an event. Now moving on to the stats again for landings, they will be nailing it for the 22nd time this year. Most of the landings are on Droneship with 20 landings, and for ground landings they have pulled off 2 of them, where landing zone 1 and 4 both witnessed 1 landing each as of now. Prior to today's launch, the success rate for ground landings is 98.80%, and for Droneship landing, it is 96.76%. And the overall landing success rate is 97.16%. Today's mission is the 87th launch since last mission failure, that is Starlink 9-3 mission. We are just 1 minute away, so let me just hurry up. And again, this page of stats are prior to today's launch. 86 successful launches since last mission failure with Starlink 9-3 mission. 70 successful landings since last landing failure with Starlink 8-6 mission. 304 missions with at least 1 reuse fairing, and approximately 576 number of fairings halves were reused prior to today's launch. Let me just check whether the webcast has initiated or not, and yes, it did. So let's move on to the webcast page. Let me quickly set up the stream for you guys. Just a second, I'm having a little buffering on the stream. Let me just fix this. Well, it's now fixed. Upon having the audio feed, I'm patching in the audio feed, but meanwhile, let me just tell you more some of the stats. Today is the 37th orbital launch of the year, and United States is leading with 26 launches, followed by China with 8 launches, and 1 launch each by India, Japan, and Russia, marking their debut for the orbital launches this year. Adding value to your viewing experience is our top priority here at AstroYonder. If you feel we somewhat achieved that, please consider liking this video, which helps others to find out this stream. We would be incredibly grateful for your support. Well, Bob Tripika, I would love to see both the catches simultaneously actually.
Falcon 9, thanks for pressing for strong back retract.
Amazing views of the Falcon 9 getting ready for its flight. Really looking such good. And we did got the call out for the tanks being pressurized for strong back retract. Sooner those
Lower has started.
clamp arms underneath the payload will come to open up, and then we will start reclining the strong back about 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9. Remember why I said 13 degrees before? It's a Vandenberg flight, so here it's 13 degree, and there we go. The strong back reclining process is underway and is moving away from the Falcon 9 very slowly. What I was mentioning that at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center, we recline the strong back about 1.5 degrees, and here at Vandenberg, we recline it 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9. As we are watching this spectacular sunset view here at Vandenberg, while the strong back is reclining, a couple of important steps were completed. The spacecraft team switched to internal power a few minutes ago, and the fueling of the Falcon 9 first stage is finished, meaning all the RP-1 prop is now on board. We are still loading the liquid oxygen on both the first and second stages, and the next event we will be having the call out for the completion of the both for the LOX load completion, and we did got a call out for stage 1 LOX load completion. We are now waiting for second stage that will finish up at just inside 2 minutes mark.
Stage 2 last load is complete.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete. All propellants are now on board the Falcon 9. With 1 million pounds of propellant, we are now beginning to wind down the pressure that was remaining on the tubing on the strong back. That's why we can see those clouds coming out there. These are cold gas, which when it reacts with the moist humid Pacific air gives us this nice white cloud, an indicator of launch coming up. Next event T minus,
Falcon 9 is in startup.
and there we go. Falcon 9 on both the stages are running the rocket through the last minute of count. Now let's listen to the go call out.
LD is go for launch.
SpaceX launch director giving go for the launch. We are coming up on T minus 32 seconds. All system continues to remain go for launch of Falcon 9 and Starlink. The first launch of Group 15 for Starlink.
T minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Providing us some magnificent views and a rumble. Falcon 9
Propulsion is nominal.
had a successful liftoff and has cleared the tower. Some good callouts there. Now we are into a throttle bucket where we throttle down the 9 Merlin engines as we prepare for the period of maximum dynamic stress coming up. Good call out there. Power and telemetry are nominal. Mark 1 call out, that means the vehicle is supersonic. Right now Falcon 9 is faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
Max Q call out, we are through the period of maximum stress on the vehicle. Right now we again throttle the 9 Merlin engines back up to full power. Next call out expected is for the MVAC engine chill. We are getting some good views, and right now we got the call out for MVAC engine chill, and we started to chill down the MVAC engine on the second stage prior to its ignition just after stage separation. Coming up 3 events in rapid succession: the shutdown of main engine on first stage, that is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO, followed by stage separation and ignition of the second stage MVAC engine, also known as SES-1, that will boost the payload to the low Earth orbit. So let's hear the callouts accompanied with such spectacular views from the first stage.
Main engine cut off. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
And there we go. We got all the 3 back-to-back events call out there, and the stage nitrogen thrusters is now beginning to reorient the first stage, and the flight computers has commanded the hypersonic titanium grid fins to begin deploying.
Fairing separation confirmed.
We got call out that for the fairing separation, as the fairing separation went successful. We are looking right now, a view of the first stage continues under the guidance of those hypersonic titanium grid fins and the gravity as it descends back to Earth. It will continue to rise towards the apogee before descending back towards the landing on Droneship. Of course, I Still Love You, stationed in the Pacific Ocean. Second stage, meanwhile, in the middle of its about 6-minute burn, is on its way into the parking orbit. You might be noticing some gas bursts. Actually, these are nitrogen gas bursts on the first stage. Which are basically used to position the vehicle as it head back towards the landing.
Follow nominal trajectory.
Good call out for the both stages following nominal trajectories. Daytime launches. If it is a daytime launch, you will be having for sure some good views. Although for Falcon launches, it doesn't matter day or night, but yes, during day you can at least see the Earth from space, how it looks. And during this part of the flight, as mentioned before, stage 1 relies solely on its grid fins for steering as it re-enters the Earth's atmosphere. This grid fins orients the Falcon 9 during re-entry and guide the rocket during its descent. Next call out we are expecting is for the stage 1 entry burn. You can notice that how those nitrogen thrusters on the first stage is making the first stage to have a little bit of tilt, with Earth keeping Earth as a perspective behind. You can notice that very well. Then
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
stage 1 entry point startup, and we just lit 3 of Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. Now we are rapidly slowing down the vehicle, as you can see on the bottom left side of your screen from the telemetry. And this burn lasted for around 23 seconds, making
Both
the
vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
camera view on the first stage a little bit messy, but fine. With this view we can manage. And we did got again some good call out for both the stages. And stage 1 FTS being saved call out as the stage 1 entry burn is accomplished right now. Next call out we will be hearing for the stage 1 being transonic, and near about that time we will hear the call out for stage 2 FTS being saved.
Stage 2 FTS safe.
We just heard both the call outs, and right now stage 1 is transonic. It means that it is traveling slower than the speed of sound as it heads towards landing. Speaking of landing, we are less than 60 seconds away from that. Next call out for stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 1 landing burn.
There we go. Some nice views of that landing burn with the center E9 engine now lit. With that, we are slowing down the vehicle furthermore very rapidly. Should be seeing those landing legs deploy any seconds now. Landing legs are deployed.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there we have it. We have a successful 393rd landing of an orbital class Falcon 9 rocket. Coming up next, we will have the second stage engine cutoff, that is SECO 1, and following that event, we will enter into nearly 45 minutes of coast phase.
Nominal orbit insertion.
So we did got the call out for the nominal orbit insertion, but I guess we missed the call out for the MVAC shutdown, that is SECO 1. But yes, it did happen as we saw the second stage engine, that is the MVAC engine, to being in a shutdown condition, and these were the call outs we were waiting for. Second stage engine cutoff, SECO 1, as well as the confirmation of a good nominal orbit. And for the payload deployment, that will happen approximately t plus 1 hour, 1 minute and 22 seconds from the liftoff time. Today's launch marks SpaceX's 451st successful mission, with the landing marking its 412th success. With that, we will wrap up our coverage for now, but before that, would like to thank our team of moderators. Only one moderator is left who didn't join us, Vlad, else it would have been a full house. But anyways, thanks Fairmate, thanks Swap Tripika, and thanks Angry Bird for tuning in and having some time to spend with us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream, and we thank all of you joining us for today's coverage. From wherever you are watching from, it doesn't matter, but your presence with us is all that matters. Can't do this broadcast without you. Thank you for your continued support for what we do here at AstroYonder, burning our midnight propellant. So be sure to check out our social media handle on X for the latest happenings in the space industry and updates on the upcoming launches. We hope you enjoyed the stream. Appreciate everyone joining us for today's launch. Wishing you a nice week ahead. Once again, thanks for watching. This is AstroYonder Live and me, Dipta, signing off for now, and we will see you next time.